Alright guys, this is Satyr here. Hopefully the volume's okay, we'll see afterward. But I'm going to do a little tour of the dungeon I've put together over the last couple days here for Frackin Universe. Don't mind my bare ship, I started a new character to run through all this stuff and haven't bothered to make a fancy lab. So we get this from one of the guys at the Science Outpost. Sometime after your third or fourth ship upgrade, and he'll toss you a quest which will open this on your sail and you can go visit. That'll take us a few seconds to actually load it up because it's well, fairly huge. Now note that I'll be running through this with admin mode on because I don't want to die and have to redo this recording 30,000 times. So we start up here in the nice slippery ice. This will also give people who haven't tried Starbound or the mod itself a little idea of the kinds of things I've added. So yeah, the slippery ice here, which leads us to some sticky snow, which actually slows down the movement. But bonus for that is it pads your landing a little bit, so you won't take much damage if you fall a fair distance. That's the shock boomerang that I added recently in an update. Alright, so the first thing we do is we come to this lovely, super happy outpost. As you can see, it's nice and bright and cheery. There's locked doors and so forth. Lots of lovely things appear to have happened to the previous occupants. Okay. As you can see, there's various different loot tables in play here. So, normally, we'd want to go in here, but we can't just yet. So, we need to figure out where we can go. So we're going to check this little entertainment room out here. And up here there's a switch. An override. Set up all sorts of fancy wires in this thing too. That took a bit to figure out, but what do I have? I love this boomerang. Oops, helps if I actually aim though, doesn't it? This guy puts up a good fight, generally speaking. Did he drop? Oh, my inventory appears to be a little full. Let's clear that out a bit. So we can check out this lab here and see what's around. Oh, more research. The research is actually lore items like codexes that will appear in your codex menu that you can read information on what happened here and what happened to the poor scientists that inhabited it. This is only the first bit of the mission. Now these are about between tier 4 to tier 7, pretty much all the different enemies, so they gradually get a little tougher the deeper into the dungeon you go. There we go. Now I've got the power back on, which disables the alarms and gets all the other stuff on, and now we can see all the happy stuff that's happened here. The stereo appears to have turned on when the power did. These guys were loving some jams. Check all the different rooms and find other various pieces of lore. as they are integral to completing the quest. You'll need the various notes to unscramble things and so forth. Alright, so the majority of that is complete now, and now we head off into the wilderness here. My hope is that they'll enable us to turn weather on in dungeons. At present, there seems to be no way to do so. This is intended to be snowy and blizzardy like the Ice Waste biome, but it doesn't seem to happen on its own volition, so I need to look into that and see if there's a way I can get around that. Oh, little evil pop-tops. I call these little guys shadow tops. They're not much tougher. They do move differently than the standard pop-tops do. The pop-tarts. Pop-tops. Here would be normally a bit of a climb. Generally best to have a grappling hook or something of that effect if you're going to be exploring around here. Although really, if you're going to survive this dungeon, you're going to need a lot of high-end gear anyway. Alright. Now we start to come up onto the ruins themselves. A less happy place than the previous place. Done a lot of different art here as well. Dasmo has done some of the art too. The pillars here, the Shoggoth boss itself, and the deep ones were his creations, as well as one of the statues coming up here. And the torches, I believe, are his as well. We got the tiles, the setup, and all that I threw together. Everything actually works out pretty well. Overall, I'm pleased with the way it turned out. And here we have a poor, hapless scientist who appears to have met a rather unfortunate end. What the hell happened to this man? Something is sticking out of his pocket. Oh, another note. Now, I'm not going to go into the lore here. Just to figure it's better for you guys to explore that as you play. As I said, it'll give backstory and really clue you in as to what happened around here. So now we come to the temple. Oh. Uh-oh. And now we're locked in. Don't worry, that's intended. Now this place is very, very dark. If I take my pack off, you'll see just how dark. Very, very dark. So you're definitely going to want some form of light source if you're going to explore around here. This bugger with the shield is a pain to die. Thank you. Let's whip out some firepower. There's on a timer, leading us into darkness at intervals. Good times. As you can see, it's rather dark. There, okay. Right here, I put together a neat little chamber, leaving some people to guess and so forth as to which switch to press. But since you're watching, I may as well just continue. Normally you'd be affected by the sulfuric acid pouring down. My armor blocks that effect, so I came prepared. Oh, that's cheery. Continuing onward. It's funny, this used to block me forward. I'll have to fix that later. And now we actually run into deep ones. These guys look a little tougher than they currently are. They do have a comical attack where they'll vomit fish at me like that. These guys, on the other hand, are tough because they actually blend in with the mods I'm using here. Tan's New Terror has a really cool lighting effects mod that he's added a lot to over the last while, and now he's got monsters that hide when they're not in plain view or in darkness and so forth. So these guys are essentially transparent. Now down here is not really a secret per se, but in order to progress you actually have to go down into this. As you can see, it does cause the insanity effect, which causes some odd glowing, very, very light DOT, but also a substantial defense debuff, which lasts about 3 to 5 minutes if I'm not mistaken. And that'll be a significant problem for fighting the monsters here unless you have some form of immunity to the insanity effect, which of course you can get through various plants and armors in Frackin universe and allow it to be more survivable. I did create a combo log here, which very simple one, but nonetheless, it's great loot in that one, but I don't need it. I like this piece of art here. Some neat stuff with these things. And then from the temple, we progress deeper into the earth. Yes, deeper still. To the super fun Smile Caverns. Lots and lots of baddies here. More switches and so forth. All in all, I think there's 10 or 12 total switches in this place. I may be mistaken though. I didn't technically count, but there's quite a few. I need to hunt for a couple of them and generally exploring in the dark. As you can see, I did some interesting backgrounds for the Atropus biome, which you're seeing here behind, which makes it look super cheery. Lots of little smashables that can otherwise harm you if you step on them here. Not technically a big problem, but they're certainly hazardous if you're not paying attention. 15 damage per hit can add up. Ah, you warped into the water. Further down. As you can see, you'll need some mobility techs as well to reach some of the areas. Again, this is intentional. You shouldn't be trying to tackle this at tier 1. It just won't work out for you. Here we find ourselves in the lair of the big bads. I'm just sort of going to obliterate everything in my path here. This is the Densinium rifle. Here are even bigger than outside. statue here I eventually want to redo so it doesn't look quite so low res, but that would be this one here. It's basically 3 times the size of the other one, but still using the same pixel dimensions, so it kind of gets lost in translation a little bit, so we'll improve that later. Right now, its focus is on showing you what's in store. Alright. Then up here we have our boss. This is essentially a long-running battle, because he will just chase you, shoot at you, and generally make your life uncomfortable. And, you'll have these guys shooting at you as you go. As you can see, he gets more attacks as he gets more damaged. So now he started shooting items at me. And after that, he'll start lobbing stuff at me with ads. These annoying little buggers here. And that I-beam is pretty much lethal. So you definitely don't want to get hurt by that. I would like to also add some death effects to this dude too. Oh shit, he's catching up. There we go, death. And he drops some, usually some pretty lead stuff, and if not, you still at least get the Shoggoth flesh, usually about 30, which you can use to craft various gear, such as the Shoggoth armor. I'm not sure if I have any on me right now or not. No, it looks like I don't. As well as the gun the Shoggoth allows you to make. Terraria inspired for sure. For some reason they're spawning on the ground here. They don't normally do that, but whatever. And that's about it. I'll be adding more and more to this as I go, but overall, that is what's in store for you in the Shoggoth mission.